So why do this work? Well, we deeply believe that we can only really take a client as far as we've gone or prepared to go. And I know, again, sharing another experience that I had, I remember going through infertility and quite consciously saying, I'm a bit too busy to be like dealing with the emotional stuff around infertility, so I'm going to park that. And I'd come into clinic, and it was amazing how many infertility clients I suddenly got. It's like the job that we do as coaches, kinesiologists, therapists, whatever we try and avoid just sits in front of us until we're prepared to go and face it. So it's worth knowing that you can only take a client. A client will walk a different path from you. That is important to say, because sometimes we can project onto a client our own journeys, but if we are not prepared to look at something in ourselves, then how can we ask a client to do the same?
I was once told by a tutor that was a limiting belief on my part, that we can only take a client as far as we can go. And I've always held that as a potential truth. Maybe that is a limiting belief on my part, but the truth is that over and over and over again, all I have seen is that as soon as a practitioner is blocked in a certain place, that's as far as they can take someone. That's when they hit their limit. And that, for me, is where this kind of career gets exciting, because it's literally the universe nudging you, saying, step up a bit, do a bit more work. Come on, you've hit your limit now. Come on, go a bit further. So I've never found the truth behind it's my limiting belief that we can only take a client as far as we've gone. In fact, all I've ever found is evidence to the contrary.
And we often see that physical symptoms are often
Yeah.
emotionally driven. If someone is dealing with something big, it is emotional. And sometimes emotions can manifest as physical symptoms. So I know with me and my psoriasis, like my emotional state is that I didn't want to be seen. I really struggled being seen. I wanted to hide. I wanted to disappear into nothing. And actually, my skin condition gave me a perfect excuse to not be seen. I could hide away. Well, I can't possibly go out because I'm covered in psoriasis. So starting to make those connections. And of course, my psoriasis was driven by my hormone imbalances, by my digestive issues, by my high cortisol. The whole thing gets merged into one big lump. And so when I knew that I wanted to claim my life and claim my health, I knew that I had to go and look at the emotions of wanting to shy away. And I remember growing my clinic, I remember you saying to me, if you want to grow a clinic, you're going to need to go and do some talks. It is one of the best ways to build a clinic, is to get in front of people. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I can barely talk to more than 2 people in a room. But I knew I wanted it. I mean, this is when we're coaching someone, find that motivation to be able to go and explore the things that are deeply, deeply uncomfortable, because it will be the making of them.
And the irony is, I think back to those girls that we were, and we were just literally in life, but basically like rabbits in headlights, right? Just going, oh my God, I'm not coping, in our own separate versions of hell. But I think now, to the people that we are, and I these days celebrate something uncomfortable. I go, good, that's triggered something in me. Excellent, let's go look at it, because it's no longer scary, because there's so much water under that bridge. It's like, great, fantastic. We so celebrate it now, like, wow, something's triggered me. It's great. Let's go deal with that. As opposed to going into our stuff, going into those core triggered wounds of I'm not good enough, or I need to disappear, or any of that stuff. We're able to just see it and then go, I know what to do with this. This is fantastic. It's another edge for me to go and explore.
And I think that this lecture really fits into, when we look at the chemical hormonal picture, it sits in the stress box. And if we start with our client questionnaires, when we're asking questions about stress, and we have our clients in front of us saying, yes, I'm incredibly stressed. I'm stressed with this. I'm incredibly anxious. I'm overworked. I'm overwhelmed. I'm a people pleaser. Then the more equipped we are to be able to poke those questions and ask the right questions, so that they have these self-realizations that they can start cracking this open, then from a chemical perspective, from a hormone perspective, you're going to get underneath the adrenaline and cortisol. So if you're sat there thinking, oh, emotional stuff is not my thing, I kind of just want to work with the menopause and I just want to work with the wellness and the nutrition side, I really encourage you to rethink that, because getting underneath deep stress and where it's come from is a game changer with the triangle of hormonal health. So
Agreed.
what does holding space mean? Well, we define it as being comfortable with whatever emotions present, whatever comes into your clinical practice. And that can give you real confidence as a coach or a kinesiologist that when you see a client and maybe they have some kind of breakdown around a big issue, that you feel comfortable and equipped to be able to hold that person through it. And one thing we see from students and practitioners is that they often get into this career because they want to help. I want to help. I deeply, deeply feel the pain of menopause or autoimmune or any of the, I've suffered it myself and I really want to help other people who've gone through this. And what can happen is when we start doing sessions and we hear things that are deeply touching. I mean, there's experiences that people have been through that is deeply touching.
Yeah.
Is that if we haven't dealt with our stuff, then it makes us, the coach, emotional. Then we start crying with them. And then if you think about like a picture where they're kind of drowning and they're in the sea, and you rock up in your lifeboat and you start crying too, you're jumping in the sea with them. That's not what they need. Holding space is about being in that lifeboat and giving them a hand up and not falling into the sea with them.